have a loving family, a family that is together, a family that show them love, gradually they will settle and integrate into into that family properly. And if you have to go through therapy, counseling, seek for one. So no, adopted, and some of them actually come healthy, nothing about their nothing from their birth. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another interesting episode of the Adoptive Parents Diary, a space where we're free to talk about everything adoption, from the beginning to the end, and life after placement, that's after the children have been placed. If you're new here, I'm your host, Chichi, an adoptive parent sharing my experience to help others navigate through the world of adoption with confidence and clarity. Today, I'll be talking about the myth versus the reality of adoption, a lot of which I myself, as an adoptive parent now, believed before I adopted. But once I adopted, I saw these things as mere thinking is what we think, but that is not the truth. But now I will tell you the truth because the truth matters. The first one on my list is adopted children are troubled. No, adopted children are as diverse as any other group. While some may have experienced early challenges, which is trauma or instability, many grow up healthy and well adjusted, especially with supportive families. Every child, like any child, their well being depends heavily on their environment, care, or relationship, not just their history. So, no, some adopted children, yes, I agree, they come with some trauma, but when they have a loving family, a family that is together, a family that show them love, gradually they will settle and integrate into into that family properly. And if you have to go through therapy, counseling, seek for one. So no, adopted, and some of them actually come healthy, nothing about their nothing from their birth parents, nothing negative from their birth parents, sorry, and they will adapt and integrate well into the adoptive family. So not all of them are troubled. Some could be, but with the right help, yes, they will overcome it. So the second one I have on my list is that you need to be wealthy or married to adopt. Oh God, no. If you've been watching my videos, when I did the UK adoption checklist, you remember in one of the episodes I talked about who can adopt. And I said single, married, whether you're in a civil relationship or you're in the LGBTQ community, you can adopt. So long as you can give a child stability, you can give a child a healthy environment. You have love to give to the child. Stability is key. That's all that it needs for you to be eligible to adopt. So you can be single. You don't have to be married to adopt. The third one I have on my list is birth parents don't care about their children. Why would you even think about that? I don't think there's anyone who has carried their child, birthed that child, and no one will care or love that child. Some of these birth parents made this decision out of, I think that's the last option for them. And they made the decision out of love, strong love, because they want to give that child a chance to life. Imagine a birth mother or a pregnant mother, and they find out that she is terminally ill or there is something, she has a health issue. That means she will not be around or she will not be capable of taking care of her child. In that circumstance, what will she do? What do you think she will do? Of course, make that decision to give the child up for adoption. It's not always easy for them. And yes, most times, not most time, all of the time, before the agency takes up the child for adoption, they would have explored the family to see if there's anyone capable within the family to care for that child. So if there's no one capable, that is when the child will be signed up for adoption. And I will say, like I always say, there is no mother that will fall pregnant for the sole purpose of giving that child out for adoption. So most time it is a difficult decision for them. They love that child, and that is why they're giving up that child for adoption, because they want to give that child a better start in life, to give that child sometimes what they don't have, so that that child's life will be better. So the fourth one I have in my list here, on my list here, is adopted children always want to find their parents. The reality is, yes, some of them want to, why some don't. And yes, it helps them connect. It's part of, their personality and curiosity. That curiosity of the unknown. What is there? What if I go there? What happens? And that is it with adopted children. Some of them just want to know, what it is, that why they were adopted. And some of them don't even want to find out. I know from experience, I know someone who was adopted, yes. And until he was in his 40s, he never went to look for his birth parents, because yes, he had a good life where from the parents who adopted him. They told him from the beginning that he was adopted, but he never looked for his parents until his adopted parents died. Then, after they passed on, he went to look for his birth parents. For him, it was just out of curiosity. Went there, saw them, after he saw them, and that was it for him. He was satisfied that he now know who his birth parents is, and he continued his life. And from what I understand, I think if I remember very well, he goes to see them maybe once a year, but to him, he felt that bond is not there. But he just wanted to know who they are. So not all the time, some yes, out of curiosity, and some they don't, because once they're adopted, they are fully and wholly yours as the adoptive parents, and they belong there, especially once they integrate into the family properly. So to them, that is their family. That is the family they know. They know no other family. So some of them sometimes do, and some don't. And the fifth one I have is open adoption is confusing for the children. Open adoption, that is when you have some level of contact between the adoptive parents and the birth parents. It could be physical contact, which sometimes I know is rare, because some adoptive parents, they just want to adopt the child and have a connection fully before they start contact or anything, because they don't want the child to maybe go be with the adoptive parent, then go have contact with the birth parents and come back with another information. So most contact, it depends on how the child came into care and how the child was adopted, because the agency force will always promote contact. But if they feel that the contact will not do the child any good, some of them just close the contact. Like in our case, we have open contact, but it's a letterbox contact. We write a letter to the birth parents to tell them how our children are doing, what they are up to, and we always share this information with our children so they know. Like I always say, in my house, adoption is an open conversation. They all know. So once we write the letter, if they want to add one or few bits into the letter, we allow them do that. And it's helping them connect to their origin. It's helping them connect to their identity, to who they are and why they were adopted. So in our case, open adoption is not confusing for our children. Instead, it's helping them connect to who they are and to their identity. So the sixth one I have here, and also children are capable of understanding this relationship when it's explained to them, but please be age appropriate. Yes. So the sixth one is adoptive parents love differently than biological parents. Hello, how is that even possible? Love is love. If you have love to give, love is same everywhere. Love is a universal language. It's a universal emotional language. If you have love to give, whether you're adoptive parents or birth parents, you give love. Like I don't know if I've shared this story. I have a friend that has four birth children and she adopted two. She treats them equally. That I know. She loves them equally. So love from birth parents and love from adoptive parents is love. So there is no different love. There is no different kind of love. I haven't seen any different kind of love. If you have love to give, empathy, it's same everywhere. So, and love is actually built through connection, like say care and shared experience, not biology. And research has consistently shows that adoptive families form strong, secure bond, just like biological family. So love is love, irrespective of how it comes. So the seventh one I have here is adoption. The myth is that adoption is always expensive. Reality is cost varies. What type of adoption are you doing? If you're doing like we live in the UK, we did through agency, local authority, I will tell you it's not expensive. The only thing we have to pay for was, if I remember, was our health check, our full complete health check. That was what we paid for. The agency took care of every other thing. But if you're going through the route of international adoption, oh yes, you have to be ready. I can tell you that international adoption is expensive, or private. It is expensive, of course. So adoption generally, to me or to my understanding, is not expensive. And especially when you're doing from fostering to adoption, that is not expensive. And say foster care adoption is often low cost or free and may include financial support. Yes. And there are also grants and support programs available in many places. So even after you've adopted the children fully, and somewhere along the line, you feel one of them maybe need therapy or counseling that you need to sign them up for, you can go to what they call the post-adoption team. Or maybe if they are lacking school-wise, education-wise, I need to put in some form of education for them, maybe private tuition or something. Go through post-adoption team. They can support you financially. So I will say adoption is not expensive, but if you're going international adoption, yes, it can be expensive. So this eighth one I have on my list here is that older children are harder to place because something is wrong with them. No, there is nothing wrong with older children. The only issue, I'll call it an issue, is that most adoptive parents would prefer a younger child, because to them, they want to grow with a child. So, and it says, many prospective parents prefer infants, not because anything is wrong with the older ones. No. Older children can form deep bonds and often adapt very well into loving homes. So it varies. I think it varies with preference, yes, I would say, because I know when we were in the process, we actually preferred infants. We said our age range was from 0 to 3 years old. That was all we wanted. And I think that's it with a lot of prospective adoptive parents. They want infants because to their understanding or to our understanding will bond better. But no, older children can bond quick as well, especially those that understand where they are coming from, what they've gone through. And now seeing that a family have adopted them, to them they want to blend into the family properly because they don't want to go back to where they are coming from. So such older child would even bond perfectly and better compared to a child. That is my opinion. I stand to be corrected. So, yeah, it doesn't matter older children or not. A child is a child and they are not, there's nothing wrong with them. Sorry. So, the ninth one happens to be the myth is that adoption fixes everything. No. Reality is adoption provides opportunity and stability, yes, but it doesn't erase past experience or past experiences. Children may still need emotional support, they might need therapy at some point, and time to adjust. So it's like you bring in a child immediately and you want that child to just immediately adapt, adjust. No, especially when they are older, they will need time. Adoption doesn't fix everything, but with love and consistency, everything comes normal, everything becomes stable. And I think I will tell you from experience, it happened with me. When I just got my children, I know the younger ones, I would say they adjusted and got into the family almost immediately. Then the older one, because he knows more than the younger ones, he knows where he's coming from, he knows his story. So it took him a bit of time, but bless his heart, he is the sweetest boy ever. And he adapted. I would say it didn't take him up to two months or three. And he adapted so quickly. And he is such he is such a good boy. I think that's all I can say. He's such a good child. He is. So I can tell you firsthand that no, that adoption sometimes doesn't fix everything, but consistency and stability does fix a lot of things. Then the 10th one, which I have, and that's the last one, is that, and just to add this, sorry, adoption is the beginning of a journey, not a quick solution. Because sometimes you have some difficult experience with some adopted children. That doesn't mean they are not grateful. Sometimes they are trying to find what works for them, their stability, because they are processing a lot. A lot is going on their head. So give it room, be consistent, and you'll be fine. The 10th one, which is the last one, is talking about adoption will confuse or upset a child. No, experts recommend open and honest communication from an early age. Children who understand their story tend to feel more secure, build stronger identity, have better emotional outcome. And yes, I am an example of that. Openly talk about adoption in my household. We talk about it. My children know they are adopted. They know their story. And the life story book also helps to give them more that we couldn't even talk about, because the life story book was prepared by the social worker, gave it to them, and they read it themselves. And they asked us some questions. So it's always good to start early. Talk about adoption. Build that strong identity for them. Make them relate to where they are coming from. Let them know. But please be age appropriate, I'll always say. So what the older one will understand, or rather the way the older one will understand his or her story, is different from the way the younger one will understand it. So be age appropriate when you talk about adoption. Let everybody understand it the way they want to, and let it be an ongoing conversation in your household. It will help the children a lot. It will help them know who they are. So, adoption is not defined by stereotype. No. It's about relationship, resilience, and care. So, understanding the reality and the myths help. Know what is real and what is not real. Please, let's reduce stigmatization. Let's support adoptive families, and let's promote better outcomes for the children. So if this video has been helpful to you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave your question in the comment section. I'll always answer any of your questions. And remember, love makes a family. See you in my next video.